Hi guys, Paul here, and what we're looking at here is the Taranis Q X7 from FrSky. Now, when I first saw pictures of this and we were aware of the fact that it was actually coming out, I wasn't exactly sure where this fit in the overall scheme of things, because you've got the Horus, you've got the Taranis X9D, which is the radio that Thomas and myself use, and then you've got this new radio again. So just to give you an idea of where this actually sits, this is the lower end of the model, so it's more of an introductory radio. Depending on where you buy this from, it's about half the price of the Taranis X9D, which is the one that most of us are familiar with. So obviously it's designed to get people in the hobby. Now, surprisingly, having had a look at this, the feel I don't think is as nice as the regular Taranis, but in some ways it's actually better. And it does do actually some things better than the Taranis, especially the menu navigation, etc., which I'll run through shortly. So what we'll do is quickly have a look at the radio itself and go over the basic layout. So this is the radio itself, and we've got the black version here. It comes in a black and a white version. All in all, not a bad looking radio. It's not as big as the Horus. Up top we've got the headphone jack, it appears, and I assume this is the trainer port. I need to confirm that, but I'm sure that it'll be covered in the actual manual itself. Now, as far as switches, we've got a 2-position switch, a 3-position here, and another 3-position switch. 3-position also, so this is much like the Taranis, so this one should be a 3-position, and yes it is. And a momentary trainer type switch over there. And the rest of the layout looks pretty much normal. The navigation buttons are slightly different, much like the Horus itself. Now on the bottom, I'll just take this plastic off so we can have a look. We have the smart port, the micro USB, obviously to store all your models, audio files, etc. And we have the USB. And on the back, these are greyish grips, are really nice when you're holding the radio, nice and soft. We've got the module port, so if you're running, say, a UHF module or a Spectrum, something along those lines, you can plug that straight in there. And as you can see, what I've done with mine is I've got it set up as a Mode 1 radio. Now, this came with both sticks centered, much like the DJI joysticks, so you'll have to get in there and make an adjustment yourself. That's pretty easy to do, and then set the model as a Mode 1 or a Mode 2, depending on what it is that you're actually using. So what we'll do is actually go through the menu now. Now the power switch, that actually lights up various colors depending on what information it is that it's actually providing. The LCD screen is smaller than a Taranis, but it seems to work quite well. I was quite surprised with that. So much like the Horus, it's got a page button, and you've got your menu button in the middle, and you've got an exit, and you've got a knob that you can turn around to change settings, and also you can press enter with it by pushing it in. And navigating with this thing is really nice. It's really quick. So what we'll do is quickly run through the menus. And the menu layout is pretty much identical to the Taranis X9D. So if you've used the Taranis before, you're familiar with it, most of the tutorials out there will be applicable to this. It's very similar. Just going through switches. Okay, and obviously calibration. I actually did a calibration once I adjusted the gimbals, and we'll go through to the actual model itself and the setup for the actual aircraft itself. Like I said, pretty much the same as the traditional OpenTX firmware, so there should be no dramas getting around this menu. So I keep coming back to the navigation on this thing, and the reason I do that is because I actually quite enjoyed the way it actually worked. It was very quick to get around the menu and make adjustments, as opposed to using just buttons that we do on the regular Taranis X9D. So, but as far as the radio itself goes, look, it's definitely a lower end radio. But having said that, I mean, look, it's pretty well featured. I mean, like you could fly quads with it. You're going to be able to fly aircraft with it. No dramas whatsoever. So we would have actually tested it today, but unfortunately the weather's absolutely horrendous at the moment in Melbourne. So hopefully we get a chance to actually fly with it tomorrow and see exactly what it's like. Look, as far as this radio goes, look, it feels nice in the hands. The rubber grips at the back are a good addition. Shame the Taranis X9D doesn't actually have that. I like the menuing system on this better than I do using the 6-button menu on the Taranis X9D. So it's definitely doing those things better than the regular Taranis that we use. Gimbals, I'm not sure whether you can change these out to the new M9 gimbals. I'd have to look into that, but if you can, that'd be really quite cool, especially if you're after a lower end radio and you're sort of strapped for cash. You don't want to spend too much on the radio. Look, it's a fully featured radio, so I can't imagine there being any issues with it unless it's got some sort of strange range issues or something like that, which I doubt as a Taranis it's actually going to have that. So some of the pros with this is the fact that it's actually a light radio. It's not too heavy. It feels pretty good in the hands. It's not too bad. I think it's a touch better ergonomically than the Taranis X9D. The menuing system I think is actually better, but it does definitely feel like a cheaper radio. But then again, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's half the value of the regular Taranis. The batteries, I've got AA's in this thing at the moment, so you haven't got a rechargeable battery in there, which is kind of a shame. So that's another thing to keep in mind. That's probably another downside to this. But then again, look, it is a lower end radio, so keep that in mind. But all in all, first impressions, look really impressed with it. It obviously has ball bearings on its gimbals. It supports all the typical audio speech outputs that the regular Taranis does. It supports OpenTX. It's got telemetry, vibration alerts, all those typical functionality that you would expect from the Taranis. This thing actually already has at half the price. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll leave the video at that. What we'll do if the weather ever improves, hopefully the next couple of days we can actually get out and fly with this. And we might hook up either an RC aircraft or one of the Helix quads and take it out for a spin and see exactly what it feels like. So anyway, I'll leave the video at that. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll catch you guys next one. And if you have any questions and comments, down below.